feel real. Like even now, it was like really surreal. I mean, as soon as I got in the end zone, I didn't even know what to do. Yeah, no, we definitely wanted to more than them at the end. But we haven't beat them in 20 years, so we really wanted to. We wanted to make history.
This team this year, they're a really focused group. They're a really tight group. We do have our ups and downs, and but they're fighters. Tonight we never wavered. They went up by 2 scores. We battled right back and tied it at halftime. And then, the second half was obviously a defensive struggle for both teams. But, we had given up 2 red zone, 1 goal line stand, great recovery by 8 front.
I mean, it means everything. It just shows that now every team has to take it serious. We're one of those top teams in the league, and everyone should be ready for this.
Football's the greatest game out there. It teaches you a lot. No fight. No quit. Never give up. And if you play like that, you'll always have a chance to win. And, we were fortunate to come away with the win tonight against a great Ansonia goal.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Meat Grinder, your weekly dose of high school football in Connecticut, and coming to you live from beautiful downtown Hamden, Connecticut. I'm Sean Patrick Bowley, and with me, coming from where are you, Pete?
I'm in Trumbull.
Beautiful
downtown Trumbull.
Downtown Trumbull is Pete Paguaga. Peter, how are you?
Good. We're live. This is different and cool, and it was fun on Friday, but now I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, sorry. You'll get through it. You'll get through it. At the top of the show, we're live. I can't believe it. Okay. At the top of the show, you saw, obviously, we got a lot of things going on this week, but Thursday's night's just barn burner up at the Barber Field where the Seymour Wildcats rally from 14 down to defeat Ansonia, just in case you didn't hear that correctly, for the first time since 2004, which was my first year at Connecticut Post. We'll show the highlights up there now, but when I was at the Post in 2004, Dan Dunay, the head coach now, was a defensive coordinator, and a lot of just chaos going on up at Ansonia. Up at Seymour. The game was at Ansonia to start, and then because the game wasn't quite over yet. I'm sorry, it was because their field wasn't ready. They had to move it over to Seymour. And in the game up at the Barber, Connor Shea scored on a 28-yard touchdown run with 21.9 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter to stun the Ansonia Chargers. They came back with 14 down. It was the first victory since October 16th, 2004. And, it's just an absolute unbelievable job by the Wildcats. Like I said, Connor Shea had a great game, scored the 3 touchdowns, was all over the field. The defense made some defensive stops. And, we started off with Ansonia last week, and we're going to have to start off with Ansonia again. We thought, the new era began up there with John Mahalko's first year as head coach, getting a big win over Bloomfield. But now Bloomfield's 0-2. We'll get to that. But Seymour coming out of nowhere. They had a dogfight. They had to come back a few times against Griswold. And listen, you saw the carnage up there, Pete. I'm just speechless. I can't even get
shocked. I mean, I look, say what you want about the NVL and the level of the NVL compared to the rest of the state, but people still care. Thursday night, I'm at Lyman Hall, and there's no service there. But every now and then, I'm getting like text messages coming through from coaches across the state, being like, "Are you seeing this? Do you guys have anyone at Ansonia Seymour? Ansonia's going down. Seymour, But like there was like interest throughout the entire state involving that game. It was pretty crazy to see. I mean, we had Kevin Roberts there. You and I talked about going when they moved the game. And we're like, no, we'll still go where we go. Ansonia's going to win, right? We could not have been more far off on that.
Well, I mean, considering they'd won 21 straight going all the way back 20 years, I mean, she was 28 years old, and I remember that team, Taggart's, and there was a lot of good players in those teams back then. And, and remember, Ansonia went 10 years without an NVL loss, which is unbelievable. So listen, all things go in circles. Things happen. The great teams may be just dominant right now, But over time, on a long enough timeline, right, everybody's survival rate drops to 0, right? I mean, so basically, Ansonia wasn't going to beat Seymour forever. I mean, there's some teams that maybe they would beat forever. But in this case, just an amazing job by Dan Dunay, who obviously started head coach last year. There had been some turmoil about some coaching over which led to his hiring. But, we knew Connor Shea was going to be there, and we knew they had some guys back. It was just a matter of them showing up. And, the other thing, just real quick about that was the first time they'd ever beaten Ansonia at the Barber Field. Now, Spooty could never do it at his own field. They always did it down in Ansonia, which is a feat in and of itself. But, to do it in front of the home crowds, it never happened. It just...
Well, no, it was in front of the away crowd at their home field.
But they had, I don't think the Ansonia guys were on
were
on that side.
Well, but technically, it goes down as a Seymour win as an away team, as the visitor. Technically.
Yeah, technically. I mean, did the Ansonia they didn't go to the home side. I mean, they didn't do that.
No,
right?
I know, but when you look in 20 years at Max Preps, it will say Seymour was the away team.
Yeah, which is, crazy in and of itself. So fortune favors Seymour in that regard. If it's down at Ansonia with the new field, and that's supposed to open up now, I guess they're maybe the next time they go, maybe the time after that. But obviously a seismic shift in the NVL, which is again, it's interesting. I mean, look, I wouldn't look too far into it. I mean, this is a veteran Seymour team, and Ansonia is changing a lot of things. They got some new players in key spots. But I guess the signal is here that they're not invulnerable by any stretch of the imagination. I think that's the big key on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just wild. I mean, a wild upset. I mean, we've had some quote unquote upsets this year, but I think this one takes the cake so far.
Yeah,
with all the history behind it.
There's so much history, and those Thursday, you gotta love those Thursday night Valley games, man. Absolutely, I love them. I mean, Ansonia plays them all the time, and it gives us a chance, because if it's between like maybe Seymour and Ansonia in a top 10 game, I gotta go to the top 10 game. Now, maybe sometimes Ansonia's in there, but I gotta get into the top 10 game.
Yeah.
We got to go to those. So, and even in this case, we were both not there. So,
yeah,
you went to Lyman
Hall. To be fair,
yeah.
They moved it to Thursday on Wednesday.
Yeah,
so it was like a late
Thursday night beforehand.
I thought it was Friday, but I could be wrong.
Whatever.
It's always a very long week.
Yeah, it's a very long week. So, so that was obviously the big result up there. I mean, so we opened the show with them. Some crazy things. If you want to see more highlights and stuff, to go to GametimeCT.com. We got it on our Instagram. We got it all over the place, because Seymour deserves it. And look out, because the Wildcats are coming. When I first looked at it, like Griswold, they were going back and forth with Griswold, which lost their quarterback, 4-year starting quarterback. You're like, oh man, Seymour's going to get their doors blown open. But hey, credit Dan Dunay, Jamie Burns, and all the coaches there. They did a really nice job. And obviously, Connor Shea was great. The defense played just lights out in the second half. So real nice job. Speaking of Thursday night, because I was not there, the game that I went to was an absolute barn burner. So I'm glad I didn't miss this one. But with a chance to see Glastonbury, a team that I picked up to beat Staples, didn't come through for me. But I was really, really upset for that. The picks, forget it. I don't even want to talk about the picks, Pete. But, as far as that game goes, it was a pretty pivotal game there, because Glastonbury, a lot of guys back, Connor Finity and Dante Castillo, some dudes there. And how they would go up against Southington, who were kind of waiting to see, how their Ron LeBest's crew is going to bounce back from last year. I think only won 3 games last year. Yeah. So I was anxious to see. They opened up with a victory over McMahon, 35-0. Nice opener. Now you got to go to Glastonbury on Thursday night, granted. So let's go check out those. See how that go, guys. Just get something to drink, kick back, and this is a really good one. So watch this. This is the highlights from Glastonbury's big victory over Southington. Southington at Glastonbury. Southington, fresh off an opening week win over McMahon, looking to rebound from last year's 3-7 finish in Coach Rob Levesque's first season, and perhaps knock fellow Class LL contender Glastonbury down to 0-2 and worse on their home turf after an opening night loss to Staples Fresh off a 200-yard, 2-touchdown debut, Southington's junior quarterback Luke Prozo hoping to get the Knights off to a big start, and boy, did they. After fumbling on their first drive, Prozo goes deep to Roscoe Cook, wide open, 31 yards, touchdown. Glastonbury, though, has itself a secret weapon, senior Danny Wallace. The baseball and basketball star, in the first football game of his life, hauls in this 32-yard strike from best friend and quarterback Connor Finity to tie the game. We'll be hearing much, much more from him later. Southington, though, right back, and this time Prozo takes it in himself, barreling over would-be tacklers for the 3-yard touchdown run. Selly with his classmates in the corner of the end zone. Clean up on aisle 2. He's not finished. Next Southington series, Prozo finds a wide-open Walker Myershevsky down the right sideline. Too easy. Southington up 21-7. 28 points scored in the first quarter, and as I ran up and down the sidelines, the Fitbit jokes were flying at me from everyone. Who said sports reporting is a spectator gig, huh? Anyway, Glastonbury's in big trouble, but here comes junior back Dante Castilla, who had a great debut season as a sophomore, takes a handoff for a big gainer into Southington territory, and then Finnerty scampers into the end zone on a 7-yard touchdown run to get the Guardians within 21-13. Extra points no good. Mistakes would haunt Southington all night, and here's the first big one. A fumble along the sideline sets up Glastonbury beautifully, and Castilla takes it in to tie the score. Glastonbury adds the 2-point conversion, and we're all tied up at 21. Southern right back, and Prozo hits Cook again, who dances through some tacklers and dives into the end zone. Touchdown Knights. Air raid is back, baby. The teams traded pickoffs to end the half. Knights up 28-21. Whew. Take a breath, everybody. Still another 24 minutes to go. Southington back to work to start the second half. Down into Glastonbury territory, but the Guardians' defense holds on 4th down, and Southington misses a field goal wide left. Fourth quarter now, still no scoring yet in the second half. 5:34 remaining in the game, and Glastonbury on the move. Finnerty hits Rocco Meggs down into Southington territory, then Shane Santora with 2 big catches into the red zone, and with 1:14 remaining, Finnerty takes it in to tie the score at 28. But, of course, that's plenty of time for Prozo and Southington. He hits Myershevsky with a bomb down the seam inside the 20-yard line, and with 32 seconds left, Prozo busts through and scores on a 14-yard touchdown run, his second of the day. 25 seconds left, 35-28 Southington. Guardians look doomed, right? Well, they have all 3 timeouts remaining, and after getting a key pass interference penalty to get them to midfield, with 13 seconds remaining, Finnerty finds the new guy, Wallace, a big gainer, and what a catch in traffic down inside the Southington red zone. 8 seconds left. Finnerty looking for Wallace, and the throw is behind him for an no, look at this catch. Wallace reaches back and plucks the sure pick away from Ben Klebowitz down to the 1-yard line. 1 second remaining. Time for one more play, and Castilla dances in and spikes it. We go to overtime, 35-35. Unbelievable. In OT, Southington goes first, but oh no! The direct snap to running back Nick Andrews is wide off his hands. Glastonbury recovers. William Roby, all they need is 1 score. They set up for the first down field goal attempt, but a procedure call nixes those plans. No worry, Castilla gets a few carries and then barrels in for the winner. 41-35 Glastonbury. A big win for the Guardians, who were staring at an 0-2 hole before their guy, Danny Wallace, the baseball star headed to Fordham, who nearly helped Glastonbury become the second 32 seed to win a state baseball title, decided to show up and play football. And in his first game, wow, what a performance. 2 big catches to set up the game-tying score, and also had a touchdown in his first career catch. Pulls this one out. Unbelievable. Afterwards, his teammates and coaches were in awe, but also, of course, he would just show up and pick up football like it was no big thing.
We got this new kid. He's committed. He's playing baseball, and he's brand new. And he pretty much finished that drive for us. It was unbelievable. Kid, first football game. He's had a great game. proud of him.
You know, he's an athlete. He's a great baseball player, great basketball player. You know, I trusted him. You know, he's a great kid. He's an athlete, and he's able to perform under pressure. I think that's the biggest thing. He balled out in practice, and so, you know, I trusted him when we needed him and under the pressure. I mean, I've been asking him to play football since like 4th grade, and you know, finally it was like he was like, it's his senior year, and you know, he just wants to come out and play football. You know, he's a great baseball player, going to college for that, but yeah, he just came out and he wanted to play football. He loves football.
Yeah, I mean, it's senior year. Why not? Just, you know, trying to have fun. It's, you know, play 3 sports, kind of just trying to do it all. So, you know, why not? Connor's been recruiting me for years now. He's one of my best friends, and just finally got me, I guess. Yeah, it was definitely different. You know, it took a little bit to adjust to. Got, you know, hit pretty hard in a few blocks, but I mean, I'm just trying to go out there and have fun. You know, kind of slow my breathing down, tell myself, you know, this really just here to have fun.
Now we got 8 more to do it, all right?
Hell yeah.
Proud of you. I knew he was thinking about it, and for us, we kind of said, you know what, I don't want to pressure a kid, because I don't want anybody to feel like, hey, you know, I'm doing this coach a favor. I wanted him to really want it and come out and play it. I think this is bigger than just him playing football. I think it sends a message to all of our athletes across in every school out there. You hear so many kids specializing nowadays, and I think that's sad. And he came to us and said, listen, I specialize too much. He does play basketball. He's a pretty dynamic basketball player. And he said, I want to experience what Friday nights are. And I said, well, come out and do it. And I think really I looked at it as a way for us to kind of send that message to great athletes around Connecticut, play other sports.
About that, Pete. What can you say? You saw him against saw him play baseball against last year. He was amazing, and I mean, you know, obviously he led the team to almost won a state championship as a 32 seed. And I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's just I'm gonna play football now. What the heck? Nah, you know.
Great athletes can do that. And he is a very good athlete. I mean, you know, after you texted me that night, I pulled up some of the game stories from the baseball run in the semifinals when they knocked off Fairfield Ward. He threw 6 innings against one of the best double L programs the last 5 years in Connecticut. Oh, and he also went 4 for 4. Like, the kid is just a baller. He is a big time player. When I saw your tweet about him, like, I'm like, is it that Danny Wallace? Of course, it's that Danny Wallace. Just I mean, they always got like really good overall athletes playing at Glastonbury. Luke Shanahan. They had Jack Petrone a couple of years ago. He was a almost Olympian skier who also rushed for like 1,700 yards. You know, they always got athletes in Glastonbury, and it looks like they got another good one. I'm sure Eric is like thrilled to have him, but also like, dude, where was this 2 years ago?
They've been bugging him, I guess, and he just turned to him, and you know, I literally joined the team 4 days, Pete, before the Staples game the week before. And,
that is a veteran move. That is like an older player. Like, oh, I'm holding out. I want a new contract. No, I just want to go to training camp. Smooth move, Danny Wallace.
Oh my God!
I see right through you, my friend.
Yeah, well, his old man played at UNC baseball, and I guess he had gone head to head with Rasheed Wallace back in the day. You know, they said he did a camp or something. I don't know, but I mean, to do that, it's just an unbelievable job. And Glastonbury off the deck 1-1, and they have their new Luke Shannon, I guess. Because Luke was a great player last year, graduated. You know, they have great receivers, Rocco Meggs, obviously. You know, they have a really good team. I wonder what would happen against Staples. That would have been if they had him against Staples. I wonder. They only scored 3 points.
We could see it. We could see it in December.
Yeah, really good job by Glastonbury. You know, Southington looks a lot better. Looks like they got their quarterback. You know, just clean up some of the mistakes. They were right in that game. They probably should have won. Just the defense, just a perfect storm there. But they will be fine. It's Class Double L. They're not going anywhere. So, you know, a few more wins, they'll be great. But that was kind of like what was going on Thursday night. Pete, on Friday, we had the big game, Bunnell versus Masuk, you know, number 9 ranked Masuk, in a rematch or second rematch of their game last regular season, which was won by Bunnell, but Masuk on the way to the state championship defeats them handily. And now Bunnell has some guys, they're ready to go. And you were up there and Let's see Pete's report from that game.
It was a long 285 days for the Bunnell football team after their 41-13 loss to Masuk at Benedict Field in last year's state semifinals. But on Friday night, they were not going to let that game be forgotten, and the Bulldogs came out flying. Bunnell's defense dominated the line of scrimmage and made it very hard for Masuk quarterback Aaron Champagne to get going. After a scoreless first quarter and some big plays on defense, Ricky Miller broke off a 36-yard run for the first touchdown of the game. Later in the quarter, Jake Arrogant found Roddy Ricketts and let him do his thing, weaving right through the Masuk defense for a 39-yard touchdown. Masuk responded with a short TD of their own as Ricardo Teixeira cashed in for a 1-yard score. But before it got to halftime, Garrigan connected with Jacob Mosley for a 40-yard touchdown, giving the Bulldogs a commanding 21-7 lead into the break. The defenses both took center stage in the second half as Masuk scored the only touchdown as Champagne linked up with Steve Curtin for a 9-yard score. The Panthers knocked on the door a couple of times, but the Bulldogs defense didn't break. And with 3:33 left, Carson Clark intercepted a pass to put the game away. Bunnell 21, Masuk 14. Miller said the team was just focused on dominating the line of scrimmage.
I feel like we came out with energy, feel like we had a job to get done, and I just feel like we had to come back and do what we had to do for our seniors, you know? And I feel like we just worked hard before the games, during the games, and we're just gonna keep going.
Bunnell coach Ty Jenkins said the team's plan was to let their linemen go to work on defense and try to make Champagne uncomfortable.
It's hard to take a kid who's thrown 35 touchdowns last year and make him uncomfortable. But we know that Ricky Miller is one of the best defensive ends in the state, and he had 15 sacks last year. Daniel Uranke, our other defensive end, had 12. Right? There's no slouch there. We think we have a really good duo there, and so we knew that we could cage him in with 3. Most nights we rushed 3. We didn't really bring much pressure, but when we did, we got home and we kept him rattled.
Bunnell travels to Dunningfield to play number 1 New Canaan next week. Just right off the bat, that music, a little too loud on my end. It sounded a lot lower when I was putting it together, but just so next time we'll just make sure Pete will lower the music. But what a game that was. I mean, that game, like you said, they met I was there in the regular season last year when Bunnell shut them out. I wasn't there in the semifinals, but Masuk beat them pretty convincingly in the semifinals. I know Bunnell was missing, I think, like 5 or 6 starters that game, but it's still the state semifinals. Bunnell wanted that one real bad, and it showed. Their defensive line is so good, and they gave Masuk fits all night. Ricky Miller is unbelievable to watch. I mean, he is just a man-child, and he was just bullying offensive linemen. I mean, if that defensive line can get going every game, Bunnell's going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah, they throw him in there at running back. Let's see.
He was an offensive lineman last year. He was playing guard.
It's unbelievable. Hey, listen, you got to put your best players in a position to do things when they have the ball in their hands. And
I asked him, I was like, how much have you? He's like, a couple. I go, so like when you broke through, like what were you thinking? He's like, just run straight. And I was like, yeah, that works.
An amazing job by Bunnell. And hey, listen, guys, don't get too happy. All right, this week. Big time coming up. You have the number 1 team. You're going to their place. Speaking of that, let's get to the GametimeCT top 10 poll, and we'll get to all the other things that happen around the state. But, not a ton. I mean, Bunnell actually finds themselves in here. So let's roll clip and see what the latest GametimeCT top 10 is.
Week 2 of the high school football season, there was a little bit of a shakeup as a new team has joined the GametimeCT top 10 football poll heading into a loaded Week 3 slate. Coming in at number 10 is Bunnell. Welcome to the poll, Bulldogs. We have missed you. After a dominating defensive performance and some key touchdowns, the Bulldogs knocked off previously ranked Masuk 21-14. Now the Bulldogs have a date with New Canaan on Friday. Good luck. At number 9 is St. Joseph. The Hogs moved up a spot after they got into the win column with a commanding 41-0 win over Danbury. The Hogs hit the road to play Southington on Friday night. At number 8 is Windsor. The Warriors drop a spot after their 41-26 win over South Windsor. A.J. Robinson has thrown for 7 touchdowns in the first 2 games of the season. Windsor has his first big test on Friday when they host Newtown. At number 7 is Staples. The Wreckers took care of Stanford 49-6, but begin a stretch of 3 tough games with West Haven on Friday, and then they get Darien and Wilton. Almost at the midway point at number 6 is Brookfield. The Bobcats continue to take care of business on the defensive side of the ball, allowing just 7 points in a 40-7 win over Pomperaug. Hopefully they are well rested as the Bobcats welcome Hand to town on Friday in what might be the game of the week. At the midway point at number 5 is Darien. The Blue Wave have not allowed a point this season after their 44-0 win over McMahon, but their next opponent won't be easy. Darien travels to play Masuk, who is coming off a close loss. At number 4 is Hand. Within 2 weeks, the Tigers have gone from unranked to number 4 with 2 big wins to open the season, including a 24-10 win over North Haven last Friday. The Tigers will travel to play number 6 Brookfield on Friday night. At number 3 is Killingly. The Trailblazers take care of business in the ECC, cruising to a 49-0 win over East Lyme. Killingly is averaging over 40 points a game through the first 2 weeks and will travel down to Milford to play Law on Friday night. At number 2 is Greenwich. The Cardinals struggled on Saturday afternoon with Norwalk, but ultimately a strong running day from Hector Lopez made the difference as the Cardinals won 27-18. They hit the road to play Notre Dame West Haven on Friday night. And the number 1 team in the latest GametimeCT Top 10 football poll is New Canaan. The Rams made easy work of Richfield 47-0 and have outscored opponents 77-10 this season. They will now host number 10 Bunnell on Friday night at Dunning Field. Get your popcorn ready.
Dun, dun, dun. I have a quick question here, though. Did I miss a meeting, or did they decide on a nickname at Killingly?
Yeah, Trailblazers came out this summer. It was in the football preview.
Was it? Oh, all right.
Yes, it was.
I wrote it. Read that. The trail, they went from Red Hawks, right? The Red Hawks to the Trailblazers. I guess I missed a meeting.
No, that came out this summer.
All right. The students voted on the other one, and 5 years later, I guess.
I was going to say, yeah, that was what, 2019.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I'm glad they settled on that at least. But I don't know. Looking at the top 10, the Windsor with the first place vote. It's very, very fascinating doing that one.
I don't know.
I mean, they look okay. Robinson's obviously playing great, 300-yard games. And they got though, Pete. They got,
but they struggled. They struggled against Torrington. You know, they didn't. They're giving up 26 to South Windsor. South Windsor team that graduated a lot from last year. I don't know. I'm starting to get a little concerned about Windsor. They have the big test against Newtown, which I think will tell a lot about them.
100%. Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm kind of surprised. If they got a vote to start the year, 4-year quarterback, whatever. But then after that first game against Torrington, I think you got to scratch your head and say, I don't know. I think honestly, the poll is kind of hitting this like, I'm looking at the way I'm voting, and I'm not happy with myself. You know what I mean? I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, am I sure? Am I sure? I'm like, it's early enough. We always talk on this show, like, give us a couple of weeks, and then we throw out our ballot and we restart. So I think we're kind of getting there. Maybe after the second Alliance week will be like a hard reset on my ballot. But I've been going off my preseason poll, and I think I need to throw it away and start over.
I already did that. I did that the first week after some results. I kind of mixed things around. I'm not even looking at my last week poll now. I'm just kind of going my feel. Then once I get to a certain point, I'm like, all right, now I can kind of, do some things here. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea either. So we're going to find out a lot this week because we got the Alliance games. We'll get all into that. But just getting back to the top 10 a bit, real quick on Greenwich, Pete. Your boys, number 1 team in a dogfight, Pete, with Norwalk, who, Mike Forget's guys felt a little jilted, didn't get any love in the performances to water or the top performances.
Yes, but we felt unloved because they didn't send their box score in.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know they felt a little jilted, but I watched that game on Saturday from the comforts of my own home. I had to go out, which was great, but let me tell you something quick about it. I mean, Norwalk, Easton Pace, this quarterback, what is he? Sophomore?
We shouted him out last week. He was in the shoutouts.
He was definitely in the show. Yeah, we shouted him out last week, and this week, look at this kid go. I mean, big time with the quarterback kind of running all over the place. Greenwich trying to pull away. They were up 6-2 early, I guess. Greenwich kind of goes with, but they can't shake this kid. He scored a couple TDs late. Just an amazing job by them. And hey, is it time to really kind of start watching out for Norwalk?
I would love that. I mean, if we could get to a point where Norwalk's competing again, like they did during, the Cam Edwards year, they were 7-3. They were 7-3, I think, in 2004 2014 or 15 when I was working at the Hour. That was fun. When Norwalk football is good, it's really fun because they are a lunch pail. They grind it out. They're athletic. They're really fun to watch. Obviously, it's been a couple of down years for them, but if they're in the mix, that's really exciting. I will say this. Greenwich, over the years, in games like this, have not come out strong. I mean, if we even go back to last year's schedule, when they lost to, and I'll say this because, EJ, we love EJ. He's a great coach, and we've had him on the show, and I know he listens to this, but this is the same. Greenwich lost to Wilton. Wilton was not very good last year.
No.
And they lost 12 to 17 to Wilton at home. And then what did they do? They beat Trumbull, they beat St. Joe's, they beat Ridgefield, they beat West Hill, they lost to Staples, they beat New Britain, beat Staples, beat West Haven, and won a championship.
Yeah.
So, I'm very interested to see kind of how Greenwich responds and rebounds from this, but I don't want to say it's not surprising but we've seen it before. We've seen them play down to the level of their opponent instead of playing up to how good that they can be.
Well, Norwalk 1-1 now, but that was a heck of a loss. If you're going to talk about losses, maybe it's start time to kind of look at Norwalk. I'm very fascinated where they're going to end up. They dropped down to L, so it's going to be a little harder this year to get into the state playoffs. But 1-1, they're looking at. Let's take a look quickly. Let's see. They got New Milford this week, which got smoked by Newtown, 63-7. And then they got Ridgefield, got smoked by New Canaan. So, and then they got a pretty suddenly big game at Ludlow on October 10th before going into their bye week. And the word's out on Norwalk, though. Like, look out. They're going to give Greenwich all they can handle. I mean,
let's see how they respond. That is you have to get up there, right? In terms of you're playing your best, emotional height. Like, now you got to come back down and you got to ramp it back up again for New Milford. I mean, if we're looking at what Wilton did last year, coming off of that win, they lost 3 straight games. Now they played New Canaan, Darien, and Ludlow, but they came down from that high very quickly.
Really quick on Norwalk. Remember, they're not going to have a home field for the next 4 years.
I think it might
they
be
built
more
the
than
school
that.
on there. Yeah,
I think it's September. It was in the preview. I think it's September 3rd, 2030. So it'll be 6 years.
But yeah.
No, I think it's the 30. It'll be 6 years, including last year.
You know how these things go. These school projects. Something's always delayed, and some funding gets.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in 2040.
Yeah, we'll see the new test of field.
I hope not. I hope not.
So that was obviously Saturday, but let's go back to Friday night. Obviously a lot of things happening that we're going to get to real quick. But obviously one of the big games, the game that I went to on Friday night over at Ken Strong Stadium in West Haven was Shelton with a big win over Connor to start the year. West Haven lost a lot of guys, but they do have a running back, Amir Daniley, who kind of showed out in this one. But would this Shelton West Haven be like old times, a harbinger of things to come for both teams? Shelton 1-0, West Haven 1-0. Who was going to be 1-1 and who was going to be 2-0 and feeling great after this one? Let's go to Ken Strong Stadium Friday night. Ken Strong Stadium in West Haven Friday night. Big SEC tilt between two old rivals. Shelton looking to prove itself after last year's disappointing season, hoping to take down a West Haven team that had just been decimated by graduations after reaching the state finals in 2 consecutive seasons. Would it be like old times with these two SEC heavyweights? Shelton starts off well enough into the red zone on a long first drive, but they're stopped there and held to a 23-yard Mike Onofrio field goal. Yes, West Haven's had a lot of turnover, but its one big addition is senior back Amir Daniley, the former Hill House star who transferred in for his senior season. And on West Haven's first possession, Daniley has an immediate impact, bouncing outside, juking some tacklers, and barreling into the end zone on West Haven's second play from scrimmage. And that's when the trouble started for Shelton. Quarterback Logan Sapaski goes up the gut but fumbles while relying on a West Haven defender, and Daryl Small falls on it for the Westies. Harrison Souza nearly gets it back but can't corral the pick. That was Shelton's luck all night in this one. Bad. but the Gales defense wouldn't fold so easily. Later, with West Haven inside the 10, Daniley gets stood up and dropped for a loss. A short field goal attempt never gets off the ground. Gales dodge a haymaker. West Haven's defense showed up too, in a big, big way. Gerard Dupree wins the jump ball along the sidelines, and Shelton, this time Evan Boutelier, can't corral the pick. No matter, Shelton gets the ball back on a 4th down stop, but on the first play back, there's Daniley again, jumping the route for the pick for Shelton's 3rd turnover. This time, West Haven, which had a touchdown wiped out due to a penalty, cashes in on Aaron Johnson's 8-yard strike from Mason Wright, 14-3 West Haven at the break. But not after kicker Justin Chasson just nails me on the ensuing kickoff. Nice chip shot off the pin for the birdie kid. Anyway, in the second half, more Shelton turnovers as Sapaski is easily picked off by Charles Sutton. Sousa, though, gets it back with a diving pick for the Gales. It's a pickoff fest in West Haven. Westies can't crack the end zone again, and a second field goal is wide. Shelton somehow still hanging around, down only 14-3. Late third, Westies lining up the punt, but can't handle the snap. Gales in business at the West Haven 28. And just a few plays later, finally a touchdown as Sapaski hits Caden Tracy from the 25, and we have a ball game. Gales within 14-10. Fourth quarter now, and Shelton at midfield on 2nd and long. Sapaski has Boutelier wide open down the right sideline. He's got it, but well out of bounds. A big opportunity lost to Shelton, and it cost them. On the ensuing punt, there he is, Amir Daniley again, relatively quiet in the second half, but not anymore. Dancing through some tackles, 84 yards, touchdown Westies. Wow, they needed that. And just for good measure, West Haven picks off Sapaski for a 4th and final time. And West Haven student body is happy. West Haven is happy. Shelton, 6 turnovers, including 4 picks. Not so much. Westies win an ugly game, 21-10, but with Daniley a threat every time he touches the ball, and West Haven defense creating all kinds of havoc. Don't call it a comeback. They've been here for years.
The score was real close. I'm like, I need to change this game. So, I used all the dart I got left, and I just ran it back. No room. I just made a move. I beat the first guy, and it was just green from there. So I seen it was green.
Amir today.
Amir, he's a dog. He's a dog. Amir's a dog. He works for every single yard he gets. Every single yard. Even if something bad's happening, we all gonna work for every single yard in the field. He's a dog. He makes a play. Playmaker. Amir, dog. We keyed in on the hard work. We had to play really physical. It's a physical team. Every down was, we practiced the whole entire week. Physical game, physical. Freaking, they had the tight ends. We had to punch. Physical game all day.
I feel great. They're doing way better from when I first came here. We got a lot of young guys, and they're progressing for every game. They're going to be great.
It feels amazing. But we only got 24 hours. 24 hours to celebrate this win. They win next week. Want to know every week. That's our motto.
Yeah. And they're going to Staples next week, so get your popcorn ready for that one.
Did you quote, was that LL Cool J?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't call it a comeback?
Don't call it a comeback. They were on the state final 2 years in a row, and we're giving them up for dead. Then here comes
they
Daniley.
reported they had no starters back in their preview.
Yeah, well, it was a really interesting game there. West Haven offense have some things to figure out, but again, you have a kid like Daniley.
He's a stud. He's an absolute stud.
Yeah.
He really is.
And
I got to see him last year. I got to see him a couple of times last year, and he was different. He was different than everyone else on the field. And I do like the green gloves and the green cleats.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the West Haven Seahawks, right? Isn't that their youth team in West Haven? So I guess it kind of works.
The Seahawks are. I don't know if you played for the Seahawks.
No, I know, but I'm just saying the color works. Like, I'm a uniform guy. I like when the colors pop, and that green pops.
Yeah. But West Haven, you have some things to figure out offensively, like I said. But if he gets the ball and you give him some room, look out. It's going to be big trouble. Defensive obviously showed up. 4 picks, 2 fumble recoveries. The one thing I did leave out was TJ Stevenson explaining how they do the drill. So, yeah. Anyway, very, very fascinating game with West Haven. 2-0. Now Shelton 1-1, kind of being like, I don't know what's going on. With but I don't know. I don't want to look too deep into it. Obviously, you know.
Yeah, I mean, even in Shelton, when Shelton has a good team, those games against West Haven are always good games. So I don't know if I'd read too much into it.
Yeah. Just up the road over at Veterans Stadium, we had Amity taking on Notre Dame West Haven. I saw Amity last week, the week before, excuse me, and they lost a heartbreaker to Maloney. And now they're both looking at Notre Dame, which lost their first game. Who'd they lose to? I forget all of a sudden. But,
Notre Dame lost to Ludlow.
That's right. Ludlow shocked them. And now Notre Dame or Amity was going to be staring at 0-2. And would it be the Spartans or would it be the Green Knights? And, well, it was all Spartans all the time. Christian Luciano went nuts 34 times, 155 yards and a touchdown. Also had 3 tackles. 2 for a loss and a sack on defense. Andrew Dorius had 12 carries for 54 yards on a touchdown and 4 catches for 41 yards. And Joe Fryer, 12 tackles for the Spartans, which hadn't won at Notre Dame West Haven since 2008. And no, you know what? That probably wasn't at Quigley Stadium. I think it might have been on the road as they were building Veterans Field. I think Veterans Field opened up around then. I don't quite remember now. Maybe it was 2007. But Amity, huge win. George French on the board. You know, we chided them a lot about their schedule. Now they need to win a big game. I think Notre Dame qualifies. Look, and then Notre Dame, I pumped them up to start the season. I still believe in the Green Knights. I got to say, I still believe in the Green Knights. Ludlow just has their number. And then Amity, that's a tough one. And Luciano's one of the best players. Stays real quick on Luciano. So I shouted out his mom, Nancy, last week. And as soon as I did that, the next day I get a DM from her, and she's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I remember you from track." And I'm like, "Really? I don't remember that far back in 1992." She was 2 years ahead of me, but then she proceeded to show me my yearbook picture from 1992. I thought about showing it here, but I'm not going to subject you to that. But it was very funny.
I know that you believe in Notre Dame, and I do. And if you're watching, I know you're screaming at your computer, your TV for us to stop talking about you guys, but I know you have faith. But I'm looking at this schedule.
Yeah,
Greenwich next week. I mean, how in the world? I mean, I think they thought they'd be 2-0 heading into this game.
Maybe.
I thought they'd be 2-0 heading into this game, 1-1 at worst. But the fact that they're 0-2 heading into Greenwich, 0-3, then you got Law and North Haven, Wilbercross 4 and Shelton, Hillhouse, and that Hampton game's always tough. I don't know, Sean. I'm starting to get a little nervous for the Green Knights.
Well, let's take a look at it here. I mean, Law just beat Xavier. We'll get to that in a second. But Law, interesting game there. Greenwich. Look, I don't know if I'm Greenwich. I'm worried too. I gotta say that right off the bat. Like Greenwich, it's at Notre Dame. They got to go up there at 6:30 on a Friday night. I'm not giving that one to Greenwich right away. I mean, I know Notre Dame's got some things to figure out, but that's not a gimme either. North Haven's interesting. All these games. Wilbercross is struggling. They're kind of been down. Foreign might be a win for them. Shelton, if they play like this week, that'll be real tough for them. And then Hillhouse, we'll see about that. I actually still think the Green Light's going to be all right. In class double L, I think you need 6. They're going to need to win one of these big ones, obviously. Greenwich would be a huge one. North Haven, Law would be nice to win some of these. But, yeah, I mean, 2 and 3 going into the break is going to be tough. But then they're going to have to win probably all those games coming out of the break. So, yeah, Notre Dame, it should be interesting. But that's a real tough one. But anyway, moving on, we just briefly talk about Law. I mean, that was the first time they beat Xavier in 21 years. Back and forth game, Law 28, Xavier 27, final score. Xavier scored late, missed the 2-point conversion. And, a great battle over there at, what do they call Law Field in Milford? Or was that Xavier? No, it was at Law. Yeah, absolutely at Law. So big win for Law, 21, it hadn't beat them, just like Seymour over in Ansonia hadn't beat them in a while. So then they had only scored 7 points in 3 meetings versus Xavier before that. And then there was obviously that was last year. They scored last year 7 points. That was the first points they ever scored.
Yeah, good for Ryan Pearson, first year coach.
2-0, but they got some toughies.
They're good. Law is good. Law is, I like Law a lot.
Moving over to the FCAC, not a lot of things going on there, but there was one big game that everyone kind of had their eye on. It was obviously Wilton versus Trumbull. Would your boy EJ get his guys back on the winning track after a kind of a down year last year? We know they had Charlie Calabrese. They whooped up on Bethel by a lot. Now they got to play Trumbull a little bit different at Trumbull, and well, guess what happened? Charlie Calabrese went nuts, 4 touchdowns. It was not his best game, EJ said, EJ D'Annunzio. But the star of the show for me was Jake Padilla, who had four picks in this game. He becoming the 23rd player to have 4 interceptions in a game, according to the Connecticut High School record book, with Sam Nicasa of Hill House doing it twice in a month back in 1944. But
wait, they threw forward passes in 1944?
Yeah. Newt Rockney called it the forward pass. It's a Simpsons joke. Anyway, but that's a big win for Wilton. And they have it's Lions week, so they're going to have a big one coming up as well. We'll be anxious to see them, but really awesome job by Jake Padilla, who has pretty interesting things to say about getting 4 picks after the game. It's on our reels on Instagram, so check that out. But a really big game for Wilton. Again, quiet night in the FCAC. No real shockers there other than maybe Greenwich a bit. But, it's your boy, right, Pete?
Hey, Wilton's got
beating your boys from Trumbull, Mars.
Yeah, I know. To the hometown boys, the adopted hometown boys. But Wilton's got Cheshire this week, 2-0 Cheshire. That one's going to be a lot of fun. I think that'll tell a lot about Wilton. As then they got Ludlow, Staples, Stanford Ward, Greenwich, St. Joe's. So it's going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough middle of the year for Wilton. So you got to get the wins now.
Moving on, this is league play, by the way. Moving on, we're going to get to the Pequot. We didn't really talk about them last week, but the big game in the Pequot obviously was Cromwell, Portland at North Branford. Our guy Jim Fuller was on the call there, or on the writing, and had a few highlights. But a big one there, a late touchdown by Sataro, their quarterback, puts them at 2-0 in that big game. So a really nice job by Cromwell. They're 2-0. North Branford, you were like, I don't know. Like we said it on our other podcast when we were now doing on Friday nights. North Branford, we were waiting them to win a big game. They were close in this one, but no dice. Cromwell, Portland still kind of running things there. But moving on, and elsewhere in the people, Coventry Co-op. I thought the score was wrong when we got in the box. So the box left 1 touchdown out. But that was, we talked about it. I'm like, I don't think that's right. And then we closed up and everyone was like, yeah, you were absolutely right. Coventry did defeat Granby 20. Well, Granby is one of our teams. They beat them 21-20. Landon DeMattia, 2 touchdown passes, including a 42-yarder from Jackson Selly to put Coventry up 21-12. Zach Lane returned a fumble, 44 yards for a touchdown. That's a big win for Coventry because they went to the playoffs, I think, back in like 18 or so, and then it's been all downhill since. Really have not been able to scrape together more than 1 or 2 wins this season. But Coventry knocking off Granby, that's
big.
Tough.
I mean, Granby has made the playoffs every year since they co-opted with Canton.
Yeah,
they haven't won a playoff game, but they've gone to the playoffs every year that they've been a co-op. They don't lose many. They haven't lost many like Pequot games outside of like Rockville or Stafford when Stafford was really good. I think they had a crossover against Valley or Cromwell, crossover in the Pequot, but they usually beat those other teams pretty convincingly. This is very surprising and very good for Coventry. That's awesome. Coventry. The Patriots. Great win.
Yeah, real nice job by them. Going over quickly to the CCC, just one I'm going to mention off the top. Berlin 38, Bloomfield 20. Pete, you did a little searching on. I asked when Bloomfield was last time was 0-2. What do you got on Bloomfield?
1991. That season they started 0-3 and finished 1-9-1. They lost to Buckley. I think it was before Jack took over. At least that's what Dave Stewart told me.
I think Jack was there. Jack was 92. Yeah. He started Bloom. 92. So Jack, I guess that decided let's bring in the big. Well, he was only a kid then, Jack Cock. We all know what happened to that. Dwight Freeney.
That is 34 years.
That's crazy, though.
They started on it, too.
They've had a great run. It's no shame in it. They have obviously got some things to figure out. Time is running short, though, when it comes to the Class S playoffs. You can't really fall too far behind. 0-2 is really tough. But Berlin, hey, Cap and the guys, 2-0. Quickly over to Middletown. They honored before the game over there. They honored their late assistant coach and former player Stephen Hill, 2019 Middletown graduate, who went on to play at Western New England University. He was in line to join Dario Highsmith and the staff this season, but then died unexpectedly on March 31st. He was only 23 years old. Yeah. Middletown, meanwhile, they're off to a 2-0 start, wiping out pretty good Plainfield team, which kept pace as long as it could, but 52-26, the Dragons 2-0. That'll be fascinating to see. So Dario Highsmith off to a nice start. Honor their friend and former, well, he would have been coach there, but friend and former teammate. So good job by Middletown. We talked a little bit about Windsor. AJ Robinson was threw for 346 yards and 5 touchdowns, but that was a dogfight with South Windsor, surprisingly, 41-26. Yeah. The game, though, that was pretty much happened on Friday night. There's a ton of stuff we will also get to a little bit later in the shout-outs. But, Pete, Saturday while I was home enjoying Greenwich and Norwalk, you saw a good one down there.
I saw a great one. I saw a great one at Kennedy. It was exciting. Look, anytime you get to go, we love Thursdays and Saturdays to go and see teams that we might not normally see. Like Sean, said at the beginning of the show, you got a top 10 matchup or a top game. Like, we got to go to those on Friday. So any Thursday, Saturday game, we can go out, see some teams we don't normally see. And now that I live down here, I've been going to some Bridgeport games on Saturdays, even some Thursday nights. So Bullard Havens once last year. It's really fun. And, man, this was a great one. This wasn't a blowout. This was just an all-time game. We're going to run the tape right now, and I'm going to take us through it, and then we're going to talk after, though, because it was wild. We're going to skip right to the second half at Kennedy Stadium in Bridgeport on Saturday. After a not-so-great first half where Bassick trailed by 18 points in the first quarter and 14 at halftime, the Lions came out roaring in the second half. Defensive stop after defensive stop kept Bridgeport Central off the board, including this interception by Jeremiah Evans. Evans then went to work on offense. With his team trailing by 14, he took the handoff and raced 41 yards for the score. And after a successful 2-point conversion, the Lions suddenly find themselves only trailing by 6 points. After another successful defensive stop, the Lions offense went back to work and moved all the way down the field before Israeli Preval connects with Brian Chrysostomo for the 11-yard touchdown with 1 minute and 17 seconds left. He then cashed in the 2-point conversion, and just like that, the Lions were ahead. But Bridgeport Central wasn't going away quietly, as the Hilltoppers moved right down the field. But Evans again stepped up. He punches the ball loose, and the Lions jump on the ball with 2 seconds left to seal the 34-32 win. Bassick coach Desmond Lyman was rightfully pumped up after the win, but credited his team with sticking together despite the 18-point hole they found themselves in.
I couldn't be prouder of this group. We were talking at the half, like I said, and we were like, either we're going to lay down and quit, or we're going to come back and fight. So I think we got a little identity of we're gonna stay in it until it's over, keep playing until the whistle's blown, and whatever happens, happens.
I mean, that game was Bridgeport Central went out to an 18-0 lead. Look, you're going to read my my column on Wednesday, where I'm basically like, went to that game to see Bridgeport Central go 2-0 for the first time in like 15 years. I wrote the entire top of the column and then got home and deleted everything. They were up 18-0. They were cruising. And Bassick just didn't quit. And their guys stepped up. I mean, Evans just had a great game. Just key plays for them. They took advantage of mistakes by Bridgeport Central. Got to give a shout out to my guy, Desmond Lyman. I mean, I met him freshman year of college in math. I think we were in math 101 or 102 together. And we were not the greatest math students, so we got along together. But, big shout out. I mean, both of them thin rosters, a lot of kids playing both ways, kids getting hurt. But they were gutsy, gritty. It was a really good game. The atmosphere was great. I mean, there was fans there. Obviously, it's 2 Bridgeport teams. They were just so excited when they won. It was so cool.
Yeah,
I mean, but come back from 18-0. I mean, Scott Erickson and I are sitting at halftime scrolling through Max Preps. It's 32-14 or 32-18 at halftime. I forgot what it was. I think it was 32-18. And Scott and I are trying to find the last time Bridgeport Central scored 40 points. And guess what? They didn't score in the second half. And maybe we jinxed it, but it was one of those games I was really happy to be there. And I was happy we were able to highlight it, and it was cool. And you're going to learn about this a little bit more in my piece on Wednesday, but this is the first time since 1981 all 3 Bridgeport public schools are 500 or better.
Oh, wow.
44 years. That's insane.
I've seen all those Bridgeport schools, well, all of them. I've seen Bridgeport Central, obviously, during its dominant run under Dave Catalina in the 2000s, and it's been hard to kind of watch them, kind of fall off the map a lot, like completely off a cliff the last few years. But, I mean, they won their first game, and we were all pumping them up, and we thought they would, obviously 18-0, we thought they would be in there. Maybe Central's back, but then Bassick, which never, the only time Bassick was ever good was when they get to CTC playing tech schools.
And their best
they got kicked out of that.
But their best season in the CSC was only 4-6.
Yeah. So
again, I don't want to give away Wednesday, but read Wednesday.
Yeah. Harding had the better one, and but it's nice to see that. Maybe that helps Bassick out. Maybe that kind of catapults him a little bit. Central, at least they got that winning streak done, so it's not too hard to handle here. They know they can win games. I mean, both programs got a long way to go, but really fascinating game down there, Pete. It looks like a barn burner. So
it was fun. It ruled. I put it on Twitter. I said this game ruled.
We're gonna get ruled. We're gonna get it absolutely did. We're gonna get to the games to watch for this week coming up, but now it's time for shout out.
Wow, that is my desk shook. That was louder than my videos.
That's the shout outs. We got a lot of. We picked basically Pete and I picked 3 guys each week to talk. We're not going to mention everybody in the front. Will be here till Christmas, but we're going to pick 3 guys each that we really stood out this week and deserve a little pump up. We didn't mention you this week. Thought you had a good game. Either A, you didn't send in your box score to GametimeInfo@GametimeCT.com, and B, we already did you, or we just need to get some more people in here. We want to make sure everyone gets a little bit of mention here. But Pete, let's start it off with you. Shout outs. What do you got?
All right. First up, we're going to Stratford. We got Danny Cassiano. He rushed only 9 times for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns. Last week, he had 93 yards receiving and a touchdown and 11 yards. This week, Stratford beat Bethel 27-14. The Red Devils are 2-0. When I haven't looked that up, but when Stratford was 2-0. Shout out another Owl, Nate Tyler, classmate of mine at Southern. Go Owls! Stratford's 2-0. Danny, heck of a week, buddy. Sean, who do you got?
Oh man, we got to look that up now. I didn't even think of it. That's a great job by Strat. We were stunned when we did the Friday show. Stunned. Like, what? 2-0. I mean, Bethel must be hurting a little bit, maybe, but that's a great job by Stratford. I mean, it was been a struggle there for a little bit, especially since Nate took over, and good job. Really good. And then they can only go get better from here. I'm going to go to our guy, one of the guys we were talking about. I don't know if I've seen him in person yet, but up in Ellington, Aaron Lader, the quarterback. I mean, in his game last week against Coggenshaw, set school career records for passing yards and touchdown passes as the Knights whooped up on the Blue Devils 42-6 up at Ellington. I mean, he's having a great, he was like a 4-year starter, at least a 3-year starter. Aaron Lader, great career for Ellington. They are 2-0 in the Pequot race. So congratulations, Aaron. We'll be hearing a lot about them and Ellington. Got to catch a game one of these Saturdays or maybe even Thursdays or whenever they play. But, that'll be a good one. Pete, what do you got?
All right, going up to the center of the state, I'm going with my boy Gabe Alette from Bristol Central. I saw them week 1 against Newington, but this past week he rushed for 154 yards and 4 touchdowns. He threw for another 97 and had 2 interceptions on defense. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough as Bristol Central lost to Conard 42-37. High scoring game, apparently wasn't super clean according to the Bristol press. I read the story, but Gabe balled out. He showed out. Look, Bristol Central's had a run of really good dual threat quarterbacks, and he might be the next one. I mean, he is a baller. Who do you got, Sean?
I'm going to go back out to the ECC land. A guy kind of been pumping up a little bit on this podcast several weeks now is Parker Spencer, one of their top players returning. I love this kid. I saw him against Ledger last year, and I think that was it. But I did see him had a couple interceptions in that game. Against Stonington, 35-6 victory. He ran for 2 touchdowns, had this crazy play on a pitch intercept, picks off the pitch and runs it in for a score. 35-6 over Stonington. Watch this again. Whoop. Well, good job by whoever the Waterford camera operator is on catching that right up. There it goes again. He must have saw that on film, sniffed it out, or something tipped him off. But there you go. Parker Spencer, great player. And they are 1-1 after an opening night loss. That was tough, but with Parker there, they're okay.
That was unbelievable. What a play! That was insane. I mean, that's like the perfect read, untouched, right through. Thank you very much. See you later.
Yeah, that's like a Lawrence Taylor thing where next thing you know, he's the backfield. The running back hasn't even got the ball yet.
Yeah,
all those things. Look up LP highlights for those of you who haven't. By the way,
Lawrence Taylor went viral last night. I don't know if you saw it during the Sunday night game. Yeah, they were playing. The Giants were playing the Chiefs, and so at MetLife they did a Taylor cam. Because, Taylor Swift has been to, Chiefs games. She wasn't at the game. So they were playing Welcome to New York. And everyone's like, you could hear the fans like, oh, Taylor's here. They're getting all excited. And it just pans to Lawrence Taylor smoking a cigar in the stadium. And then the place went bananas.
Do yourself a favor. You having kids. Watch Lawrence Taylor highlights. They just they have defensive highlights and they have like offensive highlights. I mean, just great all time.
Greatest non-quarterback of all time in NFL history.
Oh my God, just an amazing player. Anyway, Pete, where are we? Oh yeah, Pete, you got a shout out. What do you got?
All right, we're going back down to Fairfield County. We got Jakari Harris of Notre Dame Prep. This kid is a freshman. He rushed for 148 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 15 carries in a 28-7 win over Joel Barlow. You'll see here in the highlights they're playing at Campus Field at Sacred Heart, but he's just a freshman. And Notre Dame Prep is also 2-0. I think they might be back. They got a pretty good game this week. It's on the picks. Notre Dame Prep, I mean, they are moving and grooving. I think they're back. Who do you got? Round us out.
I'm going to round us out with, I went to go see them week 1. And Woodland just absolutely blew their doors off, and our guy didn't get much done. He was running around for his life as Woodland kind of blew up the line there. But they played Bristol Eastern, East Catholic did, and Joey Montalvo, great player, set school records. He had 9 rushes for 57 yards and 3 touchdowns, and 4 catches for 66 yards and 1 touchdown. As Bristol Eastern fell to East Catholic 35-21 to get East Catholic off the deck at 1-1. There's highlights of him against the one I took against Tolland last year. We went absolutely nuts. And he became the 5th player in state history to reach 3,000 receiving yards for his career. There were only been 4 before, and here it is. He is now number 4 all time, 3,025 yards, just nipping Marcus Cooper of Bloomfield, who played from 2013 to 16. And he's marching up. He's still got a ton left. He has a great year. Guess what? He's going to be right up the top there. A few other good players there, including our guys, Nico Regani, 2-time registered player of the year, and Tom Malone we saw. And then obviously, obviously you see him.
That is a great list. Hey, look, Nico Regani played at Iowa. We know Aaron Hernandez's career, and Tommy Malone. A lot of people don't forget he was a top 5 round draft pick in baseball.
Yeah.
That is a good. Like those are some really talented players up on that list.
Tom Malone at Masuk was ridiculous.
Yeah.
In the 2010.
His senior year, he rushed for 1,000, had 1,000 receiving, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. He was, all those players ridiculous, and Joey Montalvo's in rarefied air there, and that goes. But that is the shout out for this week, Pete. Guess what year? Guess what time it is next week?
Is it Alliance time?
Yeah, it's Alliance Week.
I feel like we've been talking about the Alliance for months.
We had a few Alliance games last week. Danny, show the current standings here. Nothing really no, wrong one. You got to go to the Alliance scoreboard, please. The Alliance scoreboard. These are the games to watch. There you go. Week 2, ECC went 1-1, FCAC 1-1, CTC 0-1, Independence 1-1. But that is the overall line standings now. Nothing really much changed there. SWC leading the pack. FCAC at 13-5. And the SEC 8-8. ECC 7-7. CCC 9-14. I think the NVL is now done because we only had to do it first week. CCC's got a few games left, obviously, this week. CTC 2-9. And the Independence, which is basically Nonawag. There's another in there.
Nonawag, Amistad.
I think it's probably. I think we're counting Westerly, Rhode Island in there because they're in the Alliance too. So the Nonawag's got 2 of those 3 victories for the Independents. But that is the Alliance scoreboard. Here are the big ones to watch this week. Week 3. Now you got it. There you go. Week 3. Here are the big ones, man. There are a ton. But we picked 6, and we got another 4 of them behind this. But Pete, the big one. The one of us is going to go to. I mean, you said maybe I'll go to it.
Pretty sure you told me last time on the show that I could go. You said it's all you.
If you absolutely must go, you're welcome to go. I mean, I just don't know where I'm going. Number 4, Hand Fresh off their big win over North Haven. Kind of a good fight down there at the Surf Club. We didn't really get into it this week, but they scored 2 TDs late to put that game away. Obviously, they beat St. Joseph, playing Brookfield, which really hasn't played anybody yet. But now they will. They get Hand coming up there and get to see the Bobcats kind of showing their stuff. Should be very fascinating. There's 6:30 on Friday. I don't know if it's everybody at New Britain, Pete, but they've got a little chirp in there. I don't know why I have Fairfield Prep at 2-0 on this one, but New Britain is 2-0. Fairfield Prep is 1-1 after wiping out Sheehan 45-0. In that game, but New Britain finally get a chance to kind of show themselves. You guys want to get into the good graces of GametimeCT. You got to show up in this game, Jade. Now, obviously, running back should be an interesting one, but Fairfield Prep off the snide, albeit against Sheehan, which we talked about on Friday. A little bit too much. I don't know why they're playing that game, but hey, anyway, Newtown, Pete. At Windsor, we talked about them. Newtown obviously lost the number 1 New Canaan week off, and they beat up. I mean, just absolutely demolished New Milford to win the boot for the 23rd or 22nd year in a row. 63-7 or 14. I forget what it was. But number 8, Windsor. That's on Friday up there at Windsor. Number 10, Bunnell, obviously huge. The big top 10 matchup at number 1 New Canaan, both 2-0. Number 5, Darien at Masuk. West Haven, renewing acquaintances with Staples. Remember, they played multiple times 2 years ago in the state championship. And then moving on to some of the moving on to some of the other games. Number 2, Greenwich at Notre Dame West Haven, 0-2. Oh, man, what's going to happen with that one? St. Joseph plays Southington. That's a fascinating game all of a sudden. I like Southington right now. And, then I go up against the St. Joseph team, which is looking to get back.
How does the algorithm work here from double L to double M? I guess it's 2 classes.
No, I think it has to do with yes, they are. Well, technically St. Joe is S, but they got bumped up 2 classes right there.
But they're bumped up to double M. The Alliance, you can play within 2 classes of yourself, I think. So this falls into it. Oh, they're an M, so it's 3 classes. So I don't know how that worked then.
Well, it's 3 classes if you win 2 semifinal games over.
No, I'm talking about the Alliance scheduling.
The Alliance. I don't know how the Alliance works.
You can, Well, no, I was told that it can. I think it's 1 class or 2, but this would be 3 classes down for Southington.
I just thought it was Al Carbone and the rest of his brain trust, which is just throwing darts at a board or just taking last year's play. That's what it is. Taking last year's playoffs and playing them again. That's the Alliance.
I don't know. Anyway, that one's interesting because Southington is a double L school, despite going 3-7 last year.
Well, then you could say, St. Joseph is a Catholic school and they get to pick whoever they want. So
yes, but they're in M.
They are, but they're also a Catholic school. There are a lot of people like, so what? M. They shouldn't even be in M. They should be a double L school like the rest of them.
I know.
And then Wilton at Cheshire, Fitch at Amity, Amity 101. And then we'll see how Fitch does. Porter. Man, I screwed that up. So those are the games to watch this week. Woodland at Naugatuck is another one that's not in there. Didn't get into Naugatuck's big win over Holy Cross's big win over Naugatuck. I completely skipped over it. Brady Lombardo, just really quick on him, the gunslinger, as his coach called him, J. Peruzzi called him, 4 touchdowns, and Deshaun Graves, 3 touchdowns. Here it is. We even get to this, man. 3 touchdowns, including an amazing 66-yard touchdown as the Crusaders rebounded from their opening night loss to Masuk. Brandon Ando from Naughty had 129 yards, 3 touchdowns on 25 carries. He did leave the game in the fourth quarter of the leg injury. We hope he's okay, but he scored several short touchdowns. But Brady Lombardo, man, it looks like a quarterback for Holy Cross, as we said last week. And obviously he's got the receivers there. Deshaun Graves, one of the best ones there. So didn't mean to skip over you guys, but that was a big win for Holy Cross in a game that's always just huge, especially winning at Naughty. Not bad. But Pete, I think that's about it. I think I missed anything else.
No, I think
I forgot to mention we were talking about Norwalk. Cam Edwards, boy.
My
How about
boy.
the game he had for UConn last weekend?
Unbelievable. I mean, he makes me every time. I was watching an interview with him. One of the nicest kids, that I've come across doing this, and we did the big story on me. It's such a great senior year coming. He was so good as a sophomore, lost his junior year to COVID. Watching him, turn into the player he's been at UConn is pretty incredible. And I just like to sit there and say, we were the only ones to pick him as the state MVP that year. Us in the back room, we picked him.
We sat there. Pete walked in and says, Cam Edwards, and I'm not budging.
Yep.
And there were lots of pressure at Pete on the time to budge.
Yep.
But he convinced the other 2 guys in there that were making the decisions. And Mike Forbile and I looked at him. We discussed the merits. They didn't go to the playoffs. I think that was the real big.
They went 7-3. They would have went to the playoffs 2 year later in the expanded playoff system.
Yeah,
but he had some big moments. He played well. I mean, against Darien, who was the best team that year, they won the state title. He didn't rush for a lot of yards. He had like 190 receiving. Like, he was just a baller. So it's really great to watch him, ball out at UConn. I'm not, if you know me, I'm not like the biggest UConn supporter. I'm an out-of-state guy. I don't get the UConn obsession in the state, but when you get to watch the local kids go and play there and play well there, it's really awesome.
Listen, I went to Syracuse. By the way, let's go Orange. Clemson, baby. Beating anytime you can go down to Clemson.
Who got the interception to seal the game for the Orange?
I don't know.
Your boy, Davian Kerr.
Davian Kerr.
Dude, Connecticut connections everywhere.
I did not get to watch the game, unfortunately. No. I was kind of listening in the background. I had things to do, but Kerr, we had a huge
Kerr interception to end the game.
So there you go. Connecticut players doing lots of good things for us, my alma mater, and obviously Cam Edwards, 2 TDs late in that game against Ball State.
If we're going to throw out the alma maters, Southern won, so go Owls. Yeah. First win of the year, they're 1-1. Congrats to the new coach on his first win.
All right. So I think we're going to call that a podcast here, Pete. Live, we're still trying to bring this live thing along. A little glitches here and there, nothing we can't fix, but it's an adjustment doing it live.
Yeah, so. But let us know what you guys think in the comments. Seriously.
Yeah, let us know
if you like it, you don't like it, you like what we're doing, what we're not doing, just let us know very nicely, though. Just do it nicely. Yeah.
So we, again, jam-packed show, Lions week. We'll be out at one of those games. I don't know where I'm going yet. If Pete's going to grab Brookfield hand from me. Again, I already saw hands. So.
You handed it to me first.
No, I don't even remember that. That's a trip, though, for me. And we got to do Friday.
We got the Friday live show.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. We do have to do the Friday show. And if I did up there, I'd have to do a remote. And then either I would have to do my reel then beforehand. I would try to find somewhere to go to do it, which is tough. But the problem is, though, you're all covering the Fairfield County games. What am I? I'm not doing Fairfield County games anymore because you're always
That's not true. You already saw a hand.
Well, that's not Fairfield County.
Yeah, but you already saw a hand. Hand is here.
I get it. But when it comes to
week 3, man.
When push comes to shove, man, it seems like you're getting all these I was looking at my highlights last year. I'm like, I didn't go to very many Fairfield County games.
That's not true. You saw St. Joe's. You saw Staples. You saw New Canaan.
I did see them. It's not that I don't see them, but some of the big ones.
And you saw Darien. Anyway.
Yeah, I saw
You saw
Darien at
Windsor.
Windsor. It's not in Fairfield County. The big dude game. They got dudes. All right. Let's get out of here. Okay. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate everyone who showed up. Like and subscribe and comment all this stuff. I didn't even say that at the top. Sorry, Danny. But like, subscribe. The more you do, the more we'll be able to give you all these great highlights and travel around the state doing the things that we love. So for Pete Paguaga, I'm Sean Patrick Bowley. This has been the Game Time CT, the meat grinder on Game Time CT.
Love you all.